There is a truth that is hard to accept, but that sooner or later explodes in your face. Not everything depends on you. You can plan, you can fight, you can break your soul trying to make something work. And yet, it doesn't happen. Because life is not a machine that responds to your will. It's a river, and when you insist on swimming against the current, all you achieve is exhaustion. We live in a society that has taught us to force, to control, to push each piece to fit. They sell us the idea that if you're not doing everything possible to get what you want, then you're failing. But no one tells you that, often, the wisest thing is to let go. No one teaches you that there is strength also in the act of not insisting, that sometimes surrender is not defeat, but clarity. From the Stoic perspective, to stop forcing does not mean to surrender to passivity. It means recognizing your limits, accepting what you cannot change, and mastering what you can. It means learning to flow with what happens, instead of fighting with reality as if it owed you something. This video is not made for those who want magical solutions. It's made for those who are already tired of dragging themselves behind what doesn't come. For those who are ready to face up, take their part, and stop wasting energy on what they don't belong to control. We're going to talk about 8 principles, 8 ways to stop forcing, 8 lessons you can start practicing today. They're not pretty phrases. They're weapons, ideas that cut, attitudes that, if you apply them, will transform you. If you're looking for peace, clarity, and strength, this is the way. But it's not going to be smooth. It's going to hurt a little. Because flowing with life starts by stopping fighting with yourself. Let go of the reins of the universe. How many times have you tried to control absolutely everything? People, outcomes, timings, reactions, decisions that don't belong to you. You think that if you anticipate every possible problem, if you think more, if you do more, if you leave nothing to chance, then things will turn out the way you want. But it doesn't work like that. Life is not a chessboard where you can move all the pieces at your whim. There are things that simply are not under your control. And the sooner you understand this, the less you will suffer. The Stoics said it centuries ago, and it remains true today. You cannot control what happens outside, but you can control how you respond. That is real power. But as long as you keep trying to control everything external, you will continue to be a slave to your frustrations. The desire to control comes from fear. Fear of things going wrong. Fear that something or someone will hurt you, fear of losing, fear of emptiness, and then you cling to everything with desperation, plans, people, promises, routines, expectations, as if you could hold the universe in your own hands, but you can't. And when you try to do it, you only achieve one thing: exhaustion. Letting go of the reins of the universe is not resignation. It's not becoming indifferent. It's understanding that your energy has a limit, and if you spend it fighting what you can't change, you're left with nothing for what does depend on you. Because while you're busy wanting to control the world, you neglect your inner world, and that's where you really have influence. Imagine you're in the middle of a storm. The wind blows hard, the rain falls furiously, and you're trying to stop it with your hands. Sounds ridiculous, doesn't it? Well, that's what you do every time you try to force reality. You want people to act as you expect. You want results to come when you demand them. You want life to respond to your timings. But life has its own rhythm, and if you don't learn to respect it, it sweeps you away. Stoicism teaches you to focus your strength on what matters, and what matters is what you do with what you have to live. You can insist, you can fight, but you must also know when to stop. Letting go of the reins of the universe is an act of intelligence. It's not giving up, it's redirecting your energy towards what you can shape: your character, your discipline, your decisions. Do this. Every time you feel anxious because something is not turning out as you expected, stop. Ask yourself, does this depend on me? If the answer is no, let go. And if the answer is yes, then act with determination. But stop living with the illusion that you can control everything, because you can't. No one can. Let go of the reins. Let the universe do its part. Do yours firmly, but stop wearing yourself out trying to handle the unmanageable. It's a game you're never going to win. When you accept this, something changes. You no longer fight against the current. You start to flow, not because you become weak, but because you finally understand where your true power lies. 2. Inhabit the moment as if you've just woken up from a long sleep. Most people are not awake. They breathe, walk, work, complain, but they are not present. They live as if there is always something ahead that will give them meaning, as if the current moment is just an obstacle between them and that ideal future. And so the days go by, waiting, trapped in a just about. And meanwhile, life slips away from them. This point is not a pretty metaphor, it's a wake-up call. You are here now. But are you really? Or is your mind trapped in what happened yesterday and what could happen tomorrow? Stoicism shouts something very clear at you. The only reality that exists is the present moment. Everything else is a mental construction that only takes you away from your power. When you do not inhabit the present, you lose strength. You start to act out of inertia, to react instead of choosing. You become an automaton that repeats the same patterns, the same complaints, the same frustrations, not because the world is cruel, but because you are asleep. You are on autopilot, and that is a slow way to die inside. Inhabiting the moment does not mean living without direction. It means being awake as you move forward, being here in this second completely, feeling the air, looking into the eyes, really listening, acting with intention. Not running as if life were a race that you must finish before someone else catches up to you. Because there is no final goal. All you have is this moment. And if you don't live it, no one is going to live it for you. Look around you. How many things do you do each day without realizing it? You wake up with the phone in your hand. You eat without tasting. You converse without listening. You work without presence. And when night comes, you wonder why you feel empty. I'll tell you why. Because you weren't there. Your body was, your attention no. Stoicism does not talk about modern mindfulness or empty motivational phrases. It talks about consciousness. Marcus Aurelius put it clearly, do not waste what remains of your life thinking about others, unless it is for the common good. Every thought that steals you from the present, every emotion that drags you out of the now, is taking away your life. Waking up is a decision. Don't wait for a stroke of luck or a crisis to react. Open your eyes now. Inhabit this moment as if you've just come out of a coma, as if you finally understood that every second you live with attention is worth more than 1,000,000 empty achievements obtained from unconsciousness. Do this. The next time you find yourself trapped in thoughts about what should be happening, breathe. Come back to yourself. Look around. If you are eating, eat. If you are talking, listen. If you are alone, feel yourself. Don't run away anymore, because while you're chasing the future, you're letting the present die. And the present is the only thing that can transform you, the only thing you can touch, the only thing you can use. Everything else is smoke. Wake up and stay awake, because life is not going to wait for you to decide to live it. I'm serious. Every ignored moment is a gift that you burned without realizing it. 3. Breathe like one who masters storms. Imagine you are in the middle of a raging ocean. The sky is black, the waves hit with fury, and the wind seems to want to break everything. You have no control over the sea, nor the weather, nor the chaos that surrounds you. But you have one thing, your breath. In the midst of the storm, the only thing you can control is your breath. And if you manage to keep it steady, constant, deep, then you not only survive, you govern the storm from within. That's how life works. Chaos will always be there. There will always be problems, tensions, challenges that slip out of your hands. But the difference between someone who sinks and someone who moves forward lies in their ability to breathe consciously, like someone who has understood that the real power is not in controlling the world, but in mastering oneself. Breathing may seem insignificant, automatic, irrelevant, but it's not. Breathing is the anchor that holds you when everything else is shaking. When you're anxious, breathe. When you're angry, breathe. When fear bites your back, breathe. Not as a passive act, not as a superficial trick, but as a warrior who knows that the first step to not losing control is not to let the body dictate the battle. The Stoics knew this. They didn't talk about breathing as a relaxation technique, but as a tool of inner power. Because when you breathe deeply, you're not running away from the problem, you're facing it from the center. You're telling life, I'm here, I'm not going to break. Many people live reacting to every stimulus, every word, every thought. They get angry, they scream, they get anxious, they get lost. And all because they never learned to stop, to take a breath, to create a space between what happens and what they do. That pause, that second of conscious air, that breath, is what separates the emotional slave from the master of himself. Do this exercise. When you feel that everything is overwhelming you, stop. Don't act. Don't respond. Just breathe. Inhale deeply. Feel the air coming in. Exhale slowly. Return to the present. Repeat it until the storm inside you begins to calm down. It's not about eliminating the conflict. It's about not letting it drag you. Breathing is more than a biological function. It's a constant reminder that you're alive. And being alive means having an opportunity, a choice, an instant to decide how you want to act. You can't control the sea, but you can control how you navigate it. And that starts with your breath. Breathe like one who masters storms, not like one who wants to escape from them. Because the storms are not going to disappear. But if you stand firm, if you learn to breathe in the midst of chaos, then no shake will be enough to break you. Mastering your breath is mastering your impulse. It's giving you the space you need to choose clearly. And that clarity is worth more than any immediate reaction you might have. It's worth more than screaming, running, blaming, because from there comes true strength. And if there's one thing you're going to need on this journey of stopping forcing and starting to flow, it's that inner strength. And that is trained, breathing consciously, like someone who knows that within them lives a calm that no storm can touch. 4. Stop kneeling before other people's mirrors. If you think about it, a large part of human suffering stems from one thing: wanting to be seen. Not as you really are, but as you think you should be, to please, to fit in, to be accepted. You live depending on how others perceive you, what they think, what they say, whether they approve of you, reject you, applaud you, or ignore you. And without realizing it, you start to build yourself from their eyes. As if your worth needed external validation, as if you were less if they don't celebrate you. That's kneeling before other people's mirrors. It's losing your power to please those who don't even understand what you really are. It's adjusting your voice, your body, your decisions, your dreams to fit into molds you didn't design. And while you're doing it, you're emptying yourself. You become a decorated, made-up, artificial version that smiles so as not to disturb, that acts so as not to be judged, that adapts so as not to be left alone. But there's something nobody tells you clearly. The more you depend on the gaze of others, the weaker you are inside. Because you're giving others control over your self-esteem, your direction, your identity. You're letting them define you. And that's an act of submission you should never allow yourself. The Stoics spoke of indifference to external opinion as a form of freedom. Not because they didn't care about anything, but because they understood that a person's truth lies in their actions, not in what others think of them. Epictetus put it bluntly: if you want to be free, Don't put your worth in the hands of others. And what happens when you do? You start to live someone else's life. You dress as they expect, you speak as they expect, you move as they expect. And over time, you no longer know who you are without those masks. You become a blurry reflection of what you think you should be and not what you really are. And that, over time, hurts. It fragments you. It makes you feel lost. To stop kneeling before other people's mirrors means breaking that emotional dependency. It means standing firm in front of the world and saying, "This is me. Whether I like it or not, this is how I stand." Not out of pride, but out of dignity, because no one has the right to dictate the value of your existence. Start questioning. Why do you do what you do? Why do you say what you say? Who are you trying to impress? Who are you afraid of disappointing? If you don't have an answer that connects you with your essence, then you're probably acting for someone else's mirror. Do this. Every time you feel the need to fit in, stop. Breathe. Ask yourself if you're choosing from your truth or from fear. And if it's from fear, change it. Accept the discomfort. Accept not pleasing everyone. Accept not meeting expectations. Because only then will you start to build yourself from the inside. Remember this: whoever kneels before others moves away from themselves, and no one who abandons themselves can live in peace. Stand up. Look at yourself in your own mirror, one without filters, without adornments, without the need for approval, and learn to recognize yourself there. That's where freedom begins. 5. Be the fire that burns without witnesses. There is a type of fire that only burns when someone is watching, the one that needs applause, attention, recognition, the one that feeds off the "look what I'm doing," the "have you seen all that I've achieved?" It's a fire that seems strong, but in reality it's weak because it doesn't stand on its own. It depends on external fuel, and when there are no witnesses, it goes out. But there is another type of fire, one that doesn't shout, that doesn't boast, that doesn't need validation. It's a silent, deep, constant fire. It burns in silence, in daily discipline, on gray days where nobody applauds. This is the fire that transforms, the one that ignites from within and doesn't go out with the world's indifference. This is the one you have to cultivate. The Stoics spoke of inner virtue, of acting correctly even when no one is watching, because true character is formed in the invisible, in what you do when there are no awards, no cameras, no audience. The question is, who are you when nobody sees you? Are you consistent, or do you just pretend? Living seeking the gaze of others is losing yourself. Doing things only for external approval is a trap, because today they applaud you and tomorrow they ignore you. Today they recognize you and tomorrow they criticize you. If your fire depends on that, you're doomed to live with a short fuse. You won't last. Being the fire that burns without witnesses is having a purpose so clear that it doesn't need spectators. It's getting up early even though nobody knows. It's moving forward even though nobody thanks you. It's improving, growing, correcting yourself, working hard without needing someone to see it. Because you understand that you are doing it for yourself, for your truth, for your own path. It's not about being invisible. It's about not depending on visibility. Because as long as you're waiting for applause to move forward, you're slowing your growth. As long as you measure your worth by the amount of people who notice it, you're losing your power. Do this. Identify what things you're doing just for recognition. Do you go to the gym for health or for approval? Do you study to learn or to impress? Do you work hard because you're passionate or because you hope someone will congratulate you? Be brutally honest with yourself. And start doing things from conviction, not from the need for applause. The real fire doesn't need witnesses. It burns because it does, because it makes sense to the one who carries it inside. And if you can stand firm without needing to be seen, then you've won something that very few have: inner freedom. Great changes are built in solitude. True transformations occur when no one is watching. If you can stay constant in the dark, you will shine brighter when the light comes. And if the light doesn't come, it doesn't matter. Because you're not here to be seen. You're here to live with strength, with purpose, with truth. So stop making noise. Stop waiting for recognition. Stop slowing your process just because nobody is celebrating it. Burn, even if nobody sees it, even if nobody understands it, because that fire, the one that is born without witnesses, is the one that never goes out. 6. Let the river run at its own pace. There's a mental trap that almost all of us fall into, believing that life should move at the pace we want, that everything should happen when we plan it, as we imagine it, without delays, without detours, without pauses. And when that doesn't happen, frustration appears, anger, anxiety. You start to think that you're failing, that you're not doing enough, that you're falling behind. But the truth is different. The river of life doesn't speed up just because you're impatient. You can't push the water to make it arrive faster. You can't yell at time to give you what is not yet your moment. And every time you try, you wear yourself out. You break. You become a slave to an ideal that doesn't depend on you. And the worst part, you lose sight of everything that is happening while you're too busy wanting to advance what hasn't arrived yet. Stoicism teaches an idea that many don't want to accept. There's a natural order to things, a rhythm that you can't control, but you can respect. And if instead of forcing it, you accompany it, then you start to live with more clarity, with less tension, with more real power. Because your energy is no longer directed at fighting the current, but at moving with it. Let me make it clear. Wanting everything right now, instantly, is a form of immaturity. It's acting as if the universe owes you explanations, as if you knew better than life when and how things should happen, but you don't. You never have. And the faster you accept that, the more you will grow. Has it ever happened to you that something didn't happen when you wanted it to, but over time you understand that it was for the best? That's not a coincidence. It's that there are things you're not ready to experience, situations that need time, processes that need to mature, and if you force them, you ruin them, like picking a fruit from the tree before it's ready. You can do it, sure, but you're going to swallow something bitter. Letting the river run at its own pace is not sitting idly by. It's acting with presence, with discipline, with commitment, but without obsessing over the immediate result. It's doing what corresponds to you today, without demanding life to give you tomorrow what you haven't built yet. Do this. When you feel desperate because things are not moving forward, breathe and remind yourself that not everything depends on you. Ask yourself if you're doing your part consistently. If the answer is yes, then let go. Trust. Wait without giving up, but without despair. And if you're not doing your part, then stop complaining and start moving. But don't confuse urgency with anxiety. Don't confuse action with desperation. Because when you act from anxiety, you make weak decisions, and then you wonder why things don't go well. Life is not a race. You're not competing with anyone. The time it takes you to achieve something doesn't define your worth. What defines you is how you go through that time, with patience or with anger, with faith or with fear, with wisdom or with impulse. Let the river run, and you move forward firmly, but without hurry. Because what is meant for you will come, not when you demand it, but when you're truly ready to hold it. 7. Surround yourself with souls that don't extinguish your light. Nothing extinguishes your strength faster than being surrounded by the wrong people. No matter how much you work on yourself, how much you strive to grow, to move forward, to stand firm. If every time you talk to someone they drag you down, poison you with their negativity, belittle your ideas or mock your dreams, eventually that affects you. It wears you down. It extinguishes you. You are not obligated to endure energy that destroys you. You don't have to keep sharing your life with people who don't add to you, who make you feel less, who burden you with their toxicity disguised as realism. Because it's not realism. It's fear. It's mediocrity. It's cowardice disguised as advice. And if you don't have the strength to recognize it and walk away, you're going to end up doubting yourself. The Stoics talked a lot about the environment, but not in superficial terms. They knew that character is strengthened in contact with others, and that's why they were selective, because they understood that virtue, focus, temperance are not things that bloom in the midst of noise. You need to protect your mind like a warrior protects his sword, with constant attention. There are people who illuminate you just by being, who don't hold you back when you shine, who don't feel envy when you grow, who don't try to control you or change you but respect you, listen to you, push you to be more. Those are the souls you need to have close. Not because you need them to feel valuable, but because their presence doesn't interfere with your light. Because they don't force you to hide who you are, to be comfortable by their side. The other side is more common. People who love you as long as you don't change, as long as you don't progress, as long as you keep playing the same script. But when you start to rise, to think differently, to make decisions with courage, they get uncomfortable. They criticize you. They discredit you. Not because what you're doing is wrong, but because your evolution reflects the part of them that chose to stay the same. And that hurts them. So they attack you. Surround yourself with those who can see you grow without feeling threatened. With those who don't need to belittle you to feel better about themselves. Because if you don't, you're going to spend your life extinguishing parts of yourself to not disturb others. And that's betraying yourself. Do this. Review your environment. Who do you talk to most often? How do you feel after seeing them? Do they inspire you, challenge you, add to you? Or do they drain you, extinguish you, limit you? Be brutally honest, because this decision defines much more of your future than you think. You are not obligated to stay where you no longer grow. You don't have to keep sharing energy with people who don't take care of yours. It's not selfishness, it's self-respect. It's knowing that if your peace, your clarity, and your focus are fragile, then you must protect them as one protects the sacred. The environment is not everything, but it conditions everything. You can have the best plan, the best intention, the best discipline, and if you're surrounded by people who don't understand your vision, chances are you'll end up letting it go. And not because you're weak, but because no one is completely immune to the environment. So choose with strength, with intelligence, with coldness if necessary, because your light is not negotiable. And if you have to walk more alone for a while to be able to shine without guilt, then do it. Because nothing is worth more than being true to your fire. 8. Don't turn a thought into a prison. A single thought can ruin your day, even your life. You don't need an accident, a loss, or a betrayal to break down. Sometimes a poorly processed idea, repeated 1,000 times in your head, is enough to make you believe that you're trapped, that you can't take it anymore, that everything is wrong. And it's not reality that confines you. It's your mind. It's that thought that you let grow like ivy that covers everything until it suffocates you. The problem is not thinking. Thinking is a powerful tool. The problem is not questioning what you think. It's taking every thought as an absolute truth. It's believing that just because something appears in your head, then it's real. But not everything you think is true. Not everything you imagine deserves your energy. Not everything you feel is grounded. The Stoics knew this. For them, the mind was a battlefield, and victory did not consist in eliminating negative thoughts, but in not letting them rule. They said, "It's not what happens to us that affects us, but what we think about what happens to us." That phrase may seem simple, but if you really understand it, it changes everything. Every time you repeat in your head, "I'm not enough, this is not going to work, everyone is going to fail me," you're building your own cell. Every time you convince yourself that you can't, that it's too late, that nothing makes sense, you're locking yourself in. And the worst part is that often it's not even your voice you're listening to, it's someone else's. From your childhood, from a broken relationship, from a culture that sold you fear as wisdom. The mind doesn't shut up. You can't turn it off, but you can train it. You can become the sentinel of your thoughts. You can observe what goes through your head without embracing it as truth. You can stop identifying with every emotion that appears. You can choose which ideas build you and which ones are only there to hold you back. Do this. Every time a thought paralyzes you, write it down. Read it out loud. Ask yourself, is this a fact or just an interpretation? Is it helping me move forward or just destroying me? If it doesn't serve you, if it doesn't strengthen you, then don't feed it. Don't repeat it. Don't make it part of your identity. Thinking is inevitable, but believing without filtering is a choice. If you don't question your thoughts, they will rule you, and they will show no mercy. They will drag you into insecurity, fear, stagnation. They will convince you that you're lost, when in reality the only thing lost is your ability to observe objectively. Don't turn a thought into a prison. Don't let an idea become your truth just because it's repeated many times. You are not your anxiety. You are not your guilt. You are not your doubts. You are what you choose to do with them. Be stronger than your thoughts, more aware, more awake. Because if you learn to think clearly, to filter firmly, then no thought, no matter how dark, will have the power to stop you. And if you achieve that, if you train your mind to work for you and not against you, then you will have conquered the most difficult terrain of all, your inner self. And from there, everything else begins to fall into place. Thank you for staying until the end of the video. If you watched the whole thing, comment, "I am Stoic," as our secret signal to know that you're a true student of Stoicism. Don't forget to subscribe and give the video a like if you enjoyed it. See you in the next video, and remember, keep cultivating your Stoic mind.